Welcome to the Story Chamber, where stories come to life. If you enjoy our tales, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family. Now, let's begin today's story. A tale of true wealth and giving. In the bustling heart of a vibrant city, where the rhythmic hum of traffic mingled with the hurried footsteps of countless individuals, stood a grand railway platform. It was a place of constant motion, of fleeting goodbyes and joyous reunions, of dreams departing and hopes arriving. Amidst this ceaseless flow, a humble beggar sat patiently, his hand extended, a silent plea offered to the indifferent stream of passers-by. His days were a monotonous cycle of hope and disappointment, each outstretched hand meeting varying degrees of pity, aversion, or outright ignorance. He was just one face among many in the urban landscape, easily overlooked. One ordinary yet fateful day, a sharply dressed businessman strode across the platform, his expensive shoes tapping a brisk rhythm on the concrete. His attire spoke of success, his demeanor of confidence, and his mind, no doubt, was focused on appointments and profits. As he approached, the beggar, seeing an opportunity, raised his voice slightly above the din. "Sir," he pleaded, his voice tinged with the weariness of constant asking, "could you possibly spare some change? Anything at all would help a hungry soul." The businessman paused, but only for a moment. He looked down at the beggar, his gaze cool and assessing, completely devoid of empathy. "Why should I give you anything?" he retorted, his voice crisp and dismissive. "When you offer nothing in return." With those harsh, cutting words, he turned on his heel and continued his brisk walk, disappearing into the crowd, leaving the beggar to stew in the sting of his reply. The businessman's words, though delivered with callous indifference, struck the beggar with an unexpected force. They echoed in his mind long after the man had gone, resonating deeper than any simple refusal. "When you offer nothing in return?" The phrase repeated itself over and over. He had always seen himself as merely a receiver, a vessel for charity. But what if he could offer something? What could a man with nothing possibly give? Reflecting deeply on these words, a quiet resolve began to form within him. He looked around him, past the cold concrete and the indifferent faces, and saw something truly beautiful. Nearby, often in neglected patches of earth around the station, and in the small, forgotten corners of the urban landscape, grew vibrant, resilient wildflowers. They pushed through cracks in the pavement, their delicate petals a splash of unexpected color. He also noticed the carefully tended, colorful blossoms in the small decorative gardens planted near the station's entrance. A new idea, simple yet profound, began to blossom in his heart. The very next morning, armed with his newfound purpose, the beggar changed his routine. Instead of immediately extending his hand, he began to meticulously gather fresh, dewy flowers from these nearby gardens. He plucked them gently, arranging them with care, transforming himself from a mere recipient into a quiet purveyor of beauty. Now, whenever someone approached him, and especially whenever someone, with an act of generosity, offered him alms, he would extend not just his hand for money, but also a beautiful, fragrant flower. His face, once lined with despair, would now soften into a genuine smile as he offered the small bloom, saying, his voice filled with a quiet dignity, "This is for you." The change was immediate and remarkable. People were profoundly touched by his unexpected gesture. They had anticipated a plea, perhaps a grumble, but certainly not a gift. The sight of a beggar offering a flower in return for kindness was disarming, heartwarming, and utterly unique. Strangers would pause, their hurried steps slowing, their expressions softening. They would take the flower, a small piece of natural beauty in their rushed day, and a genuine connection would form, however brief. News of the kind, flower-giving beggar spread quietly through the city. People began to seek him out, not just to give alms, but to receive the unexpected gift of a flower and the quiet blessing of his smile. He became known, affectionately, as the flower beggar. His humble spot on the railway platform transformed from a place of pity into a small oasis of unexpected grace. He no longer felt like a mere receiver. He felt like a giver, and that feeling filled him with a wealth that money could never buy. One crisp, clear day, as the sun cast long shadows across the platform, the same well-dressed businessman, the one whose dismissive words had sparked this profound transformation, returned. He was walking with the same brisk confidence, his mind likely still consumed by his business. The beggar, now the flower beggar, saw him approach. This time there was no desperate plea. Instead, after the businessman, almost instinctively, dropped a coin into his outstretched hand, the beggar's other hand rose, offering a single, vibrant flower. The businessman stopped short, genuinely surprised. His eyes, usually sharp and focused on the practical, softened as they fell upon the delicate bloom. "This is for me?" he asked, his voice betraying a hint of astonishment. The beggar, his face alight with a gentle, knowing smile, nodded. "Yes, sir," he replied, his voice calm and clear. "You once said I offer nothing in return. Now I give flowers." The words hung in the air, simple yet profound, carrying the weight of a powerful lesson. The businessman looked at the flower, then at the beggar's kind, steady eyes. He saw not just a man seeking alms, but a man of dignity, a man who had found a way to give, even from his scarcity. A deep wave of emotion, perhaps shame, perhaps admiration, washed over him. Without a word, the busy, successful businessman did something entirely unexpected. He sat down beside the beggar on the cold concrete bench, setting aside his briefcase, letting the bustling world of the railway platform fade into the background. For a long moment, they sat in comfortable silence, two very different men connected by a single flower and a shared moment of profound understanding. Finally, the businessman spoke, his voice quiet, almost reflective. "You know," he said, looking at the flower in his hand, then back at the beggar, "you are richer than many, far richer than I realized." Moral: true wealth lies not in how much you receive or accumulate, but in how much you are able to give, no matter your circumstances. The act of giving, especially when done with genuine kindness and a pure heart, enriches the giver far more than the receiver, creating a profound and lasting impact. Thank you for watching this story from the Story Chamber. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more magical tales. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep listening.